So, if it's not pretty well established, I am a pretty big fan of the series Doctor Who. I've been a fan for a pretty long time. So, recently I found this Google Drive PDF made by this user on Reddit, which is honestly super well done and interesting, which outlines every single iteration of the Doctor from the show, comics, audios, and more. I also really like to watch iceberg chart style videos. However, there's been already like so many Doctor Who iceberg videos done already, so I decided, why not explain this chart instead in full? So if you guys don't know what Doctor Who is, then this video is going to be very confusing for you guys. I'm just going to put that out. But to sum it up, Doctor Who is about an alien Time Lord known as the Doctor who travels through time and space in his ship called TARDIS. A unique mechanic about him is that he can change his face by regenerating into different forms. Throughout the series, he's had 15 main incarnations and a whole bunch of secret incarnations, which are more obscure. If you guys want to watch the series, I recommend starting at Rose from 2005 as a great starting point. If you already know all of this, well, you may already know about some obscure incarnations, such as the War Doctor, who fought in the Time War, or the Fugitive Doctor, a pre-Hartnell incarnation whose origins are still debated. However, did you know that the Doctor could have been the secret third founder of the Gallifrey, known as the Other? Did you know that the Doctor in an alternate universe became the ruler of that universe called the Emperor? Did you know there's a whole other war called the War in Heaven? Yeah, in this video we're going to be covering every single Doctor incarnation that we could do. Of course this is part 1 because this chart is impossibly long and we do need multiple parts to cover it all. So I'll be joined by my good friend here, Mallet. So enjoy. Also, PS, we had to use the wiki so many times in this video. At like the top, right? There's either we start with Nyarlathotep, I forgot to pronounce his name, or that, because that's like
Okay, here's what I think. We start with each like level from Nyarlathotep, then go across,
yeah,
and then we go down.
okay, fair enough. So if we start from here, so what, we follow the path or what? Or do we just do all the top ones?
Do all the top ones first, and
Okay,
then go through.
but
Nyarlathotep.
Nyarlathotep. Okay, right. I'm pretty sure the reason that he's here is because since in Doctor Who the Great Old Ones they existed in like the pre-universe before the current universe, there was a whole thing that the Seventh Doctor had like someone had convinced that the Seventh Doctor was Nyarlathotep at the time. If I could, I remember finding
I
it.
mean,
Yeah,
I
I'll have the
mean,
TARDIS
if it
wiki
would
open
make
one second.
sense, it would make sense. He is the plotting, planning, like most evil Doctor, I would suppose.
Yeah, I think Seven definitely fits that, especially considering the speeches that he's made. It was Roz, yeah, using a knowledge of Lovecraft's writing, managed to convince an agent of the Great Old Ones that the Seventh Doctor was their dark messenger. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That was from that Death of Art movie. I guess that's the reason that he's there. For other context on him, apparently Rassilon was the one who gave him his name. So, yeah, because he named all of the Grey Old Ones back when he first created it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was a
That
race.
is true.
There was a race similar to them that Rassilon, like, they proposed that they would destroy the Time Lords, but like Rassilon proceeded to like put them in some never-ending thing that keeps
Oh yeah, I know what you're
recreating.
talking about.
Yeah.
The divergence. That's
Yeah,
what you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about. You're
yeah.
talking about the divergence.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Because they were similar to what they were talking about.
Yeah, and the divergence Rassilon traps them in a time loop, and we you really go into that with the audio story, the Grayest.
Right, exactly. Okay.
Yeah, that covers all of it. It has fifth Doctor as a priest, sixth Doctor as a vampire, and the seventh Doctor as the Mickey Mouse Walt Disney character fucking guy.
Okay. Fair enough. I
And
guess
Charlie's
that's
going through this, and each story is linked by the divergence. So Charlie is going through this while the Eighth Doctor is, uh, I am Zagreus.
yeah. So I guess that makes sense for him being
Yes.
linked to the Doctor. So that's how Nyarlathotep is linked to the Doctor. Then we get to the next one here, which is Leela and Andred's first child. That is, of course, from
Yes.
Long Barrow, where he asked, the Doctor said, "Name the baby after me," and then he created a bootstrap paradox where the baby is supposed to be the Doctor. Well, that's what it's implied by the
Let's
book.
go,
it's imp-
baby. The
so
Doctor reincarnates as the 21st century rapper, Da Baby.
Bro, I don't. For no one who's watched this video who knows the context behind what Long Barrow is, Long Barrow was this novel that was made along like it was supposed to end the Virgin 21st century novels that were made before the TV movie. So Long Barrow at the end it
Yes,
leads into the TV movie.
yes, but there was one or two with the Eighth Doctor, mostly the Dying Days, which featured the Ice Warriors, and then after that, they really got to Bernice Summerfield more than anything else.
Yeah. Because Longbarrow was supposed to say that it was proposing that the Doctor was um,
The
the third
the
founder
other,
of the Time Lords, who was called the Other. So we had Rassilon, we had Omega, and then we also had the Other, who was supposed to be the Doctor at the time.
yes,
Yeah.
who
Some
and the
people.
Doctor, the
Sorry, you go.
other threw themselves into the loom and then became one of the House of Lungbarrow, eventually becoming the first Doctor.
Yeah. So that's what the TLDR of that book is. There's a lot more in that book. It's like, bro, I
It's
tried to find
very
it on
complicated.
on Amazon. It's like £500. I'm not even lying. This thing is like the
Yeah,
most
it's ridiculous.
expensive thing you can find. First Intrepid. I'm pretty sure that's that faction paradox thing. Never
I
mind.
maybe I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Let's go to the TARDIS
Uh,
wiki.
to the wiki.
When I Google Intrepid to
Yes,
get
it was
this.
a
Yeah, faction paradox call for it. Okay, so the point is that it was a child of the great houses. So I guess since they were half human, and the
could
doctor says he's
be.
half human in the movie, it's implied that this guy is supposed to be the doctor. I think. Yeah, here we
Yes,
go.
it could.
Intrepid's parents are now identified. Intrepid is Leela and Andred's first child, who's supposed to be the doctor. So I guess yeah, that's an interpretation.
Technically, it would be the Doctor.
Yeah. So
It's
Intrepid.
technically the Doctor,
That's where you used to get the idea, and I guess he regenerated a couple times. Then you get into these guys.
and then became the cousin, which is one of the higher ranks of the faction paradox.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's written here that I guess they were not the original intent, but you can view it as that. So, yeah,
Yes.
a lot of these link from Longbarrow. I guess that was the first like proper thing that tried to get an origin for the Doctor before we reached a whole bunch of stuff like the Timeless Child and all that. Yeah,
Well, hey, I would prefer the Doctor's origin story to be multiple choice.
yeah. So I guess that is
It's
a
also
valid
very
interpretation.
possible that the Doctor's origin story changes with how the universe changes.
Yeah, so that's because of the several wars, like the war in heaven, the what's his name, etc. Those all changed the timeline
The
like a
Great
lot.
War between the vampires and the Time Lords, and also the Time War between the Time Lords and Daleks, and the War in Heaven, which was fought between uh, the enemy and the Time Lords, with faction paradox being there sometimes, pursuing a
Yes.
neutral role. And the enemy are they're a bit they look kind of funky. That yeah, that's a being, all right.
Yeah. Uh, okay, so I guess we'll move on after we reach. So we've covered all of these, the Intrepid stuff. We covered this and that. So I
Yes.
guess ancient being?
To the ancient being. Yeah, I could not tell you.
I'm gonna assume that's on the others page, just because I remember seeing it. There it is. It's on this section. That's not from Longbarrow though. It's from another thing where they talk about it. But yeah, so something ancient and powerful which had died during a war in the Dark Times. We're okay. I guess yeah. So it's implied that this thing, the ancient being, then became the other. The other lived in an unknown state, and then it lost its memories, and then it became the first Doctor. I guess you can take that as an interpretation. Of
Yes, but that's from Time Worm, so that's a bit.
yeah. So this one's not
That's a
like
bit. I wouldn't trust Time Worm,
okay, fair. Yeah, I'd say
really,
that.
because that was one of the first novels they produced for Virgin New Adventures, and it's an okay arc. It isn't the best.
Okay, that's fair. Right.
Another thing about the Virgin New Adventures is Ace was really, really sexualized for no
Oh,
reason.
yeah. I remember that. I remember
There
seeing a
was
lot
a
of stuff
lot
about
of
that.
naked Ace. That there was a lot,
Jesus. Yes. I remember
especially
hearing
in
about
First Frontier. Especially in First Frontier.
it. Oh god, yeah. Okay. So and then we reach so obviously there's the other here, but before that there's contemporary of Rassilon.
Which I would
Which
assume would just be the other without a name.
yeah, is that on this page? Yeah, here it is. Okay. Yeah, basically he says in some instances which it hinted to his past as a contemporary of Rassilon and Omega. So I guess they're literally just referring to him before he had a name as the other. Okay.
Yes, as a contemporary of Rassilon.
Alright. The other is
Which
connected
actually,
here.
ooh,
Yeah.
thinking about that, there was a comic called The Lost Dimension, and it contained almost every single Doctor, and it had 11 go back in time to ancient Gallifrey, and he flew the Type 1 TARDIS. So that may also be another connection of the Doctor being the other.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this is something that's brought up only in Chibnall's era, but we have Tecteun.
Tecteun.
Tecteun. Thing about Tecteun is obviously whatever you call it. He was just created purely for Chibnall's era,
The Timeless
right?
Child.
Yeah, the time shuttle
Yeah,
thing as the third founder. So
and
I guess
didn't really serve a purpose.
since you say that, obviously, he could be the third founder of Gallifrey. I guess technically would be the role of the other in that case. But everything else
Of
implies that the
course,
Doctor is the other.
Tecteun could be the Doctor.
Yeah, you can say that. Tecteun could just be the Doctor, and you might be like, oh, but if Tecteun's the Doctor, then how's the Time to Shadow the Doctor? Well, multiple choice.
The well, perhaps a Doctor from another universe
Yeah.
either grabbed the Timeless Child, which was a Doctor from another universe. Maybe the Red Guardian grabbed the child, which was the Doctor from another universe, dropped them in to the main universe of modern Doctor Who, and Tecteun. It's complicated. Tecteun was originally supposed to be the Doctor, but the Timeless Child became the Doctor instead,
Yeah.
shifting timelines and such.
I mean, that's an explanation for how you can say that for the main universe. So, yeah. Okay, if we move
I
on to this
much
side,
prefer I much prefer the Master being the Timeless Child.
that's same here, same here. That's what they should have done. You should have said, instead of saying the child is you, should have said the child is me. There you go. Easy fix. Just change that. The one line that they had to change. And boom.
Yeah, because it would also make sense for the Master to lie to the
Exactly.
Doctor.
Yeah. Okay, so on the left side here, we reach Chris
Chris Quedge.
Wedge. Okay.
He was a companion of the Seventh Doctor prominently, and I think he also got his own spin-off.
Okay. Right. Since
He was an
I
adjudicator in Original Sin. He was first introduced in Original Sin, I believe, which was the Seventh Doctor version of Avengers novel.
right.
And cousin Eliza was a main component of the Faction Paradox audio stories and novels. She was, in fact, the main person you follow throughout the Faction Paradox protocols and Faction
hmm
Paradox.
hmm
And I suppose this somehow leads to Horus and the Osirans.
Let's just see how that. Did I go on the slightly wrong way? Okay,
It's
no,
the
I didn't.
Z.
But it redirected me to this, so you know. Yeah. Okay. Horus. Yeah,
Christine
I
Summerfield,
guess.
which means she's probably related to Bernice Summerfield.
hmm And as part of a rich sacrifice to be conducted by Chris, she ultimately sacrificed herself to allow Osiris to be reborn as Horus. And because of that, you reach Horus.
To defeat Sutek.
Yep.
So she
Mm.
helped Osiris form Horus, which leads to,
Is this part of the
well,
original
Sutek's
thing
defeat.
for Sutek, like how he got imprisoned in Mars?
Yes.
Okay.
This is covered in the Faction Paradox novels, I believe.
Okay.
Not the
Yeah,
audio
yeah.
stories, but the novels themselves, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I might be
In
wrong on
that
that, though.
ones. And I guess the final
And
form of
then the final form
Osiris.
of Osiris leads into the Ancient Being, which then leads into the other.
So I guess from here we have gathered that the Doctor is both a Egyptian god and also a Cthulhu mythos god. Okay. He's been
And
both of them.
also Leela and Andred's first child, and also an ancient being, and also a stranger from the future, and cousin Intrepid of the Shadow Spire. And also Tecteun.
Yeah, that's and we've just started. Like this is you know how big this chart. We've literally just started. So
Yeah, we aren't even to the first Doctor yet. We aren't even to
exactly.
the first Morbius Doctor. We aren't even to the first Timeless Child yet.
Well, speaking of, guess we're here.
Stranger from the Future. We gotta do Stranger from the Future.
Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Here it is. It's in a little section in the others page, by the way. So one account said that the Time Lord, calling himself the Stranger, originated from a time long after Rassilon's life. Though Rassilon feared that the Stranger was planning to erase his people from history in revenge for being shunned, the Stranger was intent on guiding Time Lord civilization away from tyranny. He traveled back in time to 7 days before Rassilon had returned from the Eternal War and took power. With a pass signed by Rassilon himself, the Stranger gained access to the restricted area of the Citadel and for the next few months offered advice to Rassilon without providing any detailed information. Okay.
And right there next to that is the 11th Doctor meeting
Yeah,
Rassilon.
I've seen that comic. I've seen this
And
comic.
yeah,
So I guess you could imply that that Stranger was the 11th Doctor at the time. So yeah, I guess
maybe.
that makes that that.
Giving advice sounds more like seven, though. So that might have been the 7th Doctor.
Yeah, probably. Depends. I guess both of
It
those
was one of the Doctors.
interpretations. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's that. All right, which one are we going on
Okay.
to? I guess we'll start back from here if we go in left to right. So take from child that was
Yeah,
taken from
child
the
that was
spiral.
taken
Okay.
Yssgaroth.
Yeah. So about the basically, I'll say great vampires for simplicity's sake. Basically, the great vampires were initially a race that the Time Lords had a war with. Back during the early
Because
days of their
Rassilon
civilization.
was
Yeah.
because Rassilon was xenophobic.
Yep. And
Basically, the vampires had cloned these animals that they would drink the blood from. Rassilon, being a xenophobe, he thought that was weird, so he just started a war. I mean, we're talking about the guy who released a virus to change everything to look like him.
pretty much.
So,
Well, that's why all the aliens look like humans in some kind of way. I mean, because Time Lords.
yeah,
Basically,
that's
Time
to
Lords are like
explain
humans.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Rassilon was the one who started that whole
Yeah,
thing. Anyway,
Rassilon being
yeah,
racist is the reason everybody looks human.
it gave because of what Rassilon did, it pretty much made him as some kind of Time Lord war hero in quotation marks at the time after he you know participated in this war and defeated them. But anyway, the
And
point
then,
is
and then the child
there was a
was
child
supposedly the doctor.
because the vampires basically people. So there's also a theory that the war started because there was a child that was taken by Tecteun, right?
by Tecteun.
Yeah. And they imply that, oh, maybe that child was the timeless child, and the powers of regeneration were the ones that the vampires had before the
Vampires
war.
had it, which explains why the vampires and the um, Time Lords have 98% of the same DNA.
Yeah. And because of that, you could say that I guess the Doctor is also a great vampire, because that leads into the timeless child. Mm,
I, I guess that fulfills the hybrid prophecy in a different way.
pretty much. So obviously, this thing is explained by the show, so I won't cover this as much. But obviously, Tecteun did
Yes.
experiments with the timeless child, made them regenerate over and over again, and eventually tested it on
Till
self. Yeah. So
yeah,
that
until they
leads
could get regeneration.
up to them. I mean, Fugitive
And
Doctor.
then
That one's more
supposedly
like
then sup-
yeah, that was more debated when the Fugitive Doctor comes from, because you could also argue that the Fugitive Doctor was in, of course, the theory that she was from season
the
6B.
division.
Yeah, the division whole thing.
Yeah.
But
I
obviously,
much prefer second doctor by generating or either being kept alive for the
yeah.
Celestial Intervention Agency's purposes.
So yeah, that can work too. Okay, but
Brendan Matrix projection.
it was that because
The
this was apparent.
general.
Yeah, the person who was another instance of the timeless child at the time, or a
Yeah.
matrix projection of the timeless child. That's
Yeah.
another iteration of the Doctor. So, yeah, so you might be like, since we've talked about the fact that we've kind of sort of two, I guess, points that the Doctor's history starts. So it either starts from up here if you have the interpretation that he goes into the other. There's also the interpretation that he goes from the child that was taken into those, but both of them could be right in different ways. You could say, obviously,
Yeah.
what was said,
Or
yeah,
into or becoming Chris Quedge and or Horus. And then there's
yeah.
also Nyarlathotep.
Yeah. So I guess all of these could be the Doctor in some way, after all. And it could be that the Doctor
Yes.
carried himself in different times in all of these. So,
Yeah.
after Brendan jumped into the Loom Silmarillion entry, because that's just what happens in the story, basically, the other has a disagreement with Rassilon. He jumps into the Looms, and his consciousness gets turned into what is assumed to be the first
The
Doctor.
Doctor.
Yeah. But
Yes.
um, there's obviously we have looming from House Longbarrow, but there's some other things in between. So we also have. Did we cover Shift?
Shift head of state. I think that's the minister. No, no, that I was wrong.
Oh,
I was thinking of another story called Head of State.
this is okay. That's referring to the enemy. Okay, so yeah, the Shift was an agent sent by either the Great Houses or their enemy to monitor changes in the history of Earth during the War in Heaven. While investigating a change in the Earth's timelines, it was wiped from history by Lolita and turned into a Shift. Okay. It.
Lolita is the main enemy of the Faction Paradox series.
Yeah. But anyway, the main part about the Doctor's connection is from behind the scenes, where the shift's speech patterns were intended to resemble those of the Doctor. So I guess that's where you get the point that the shift could be the Doctor. In Faction Paradox and generally, they basically so the whole context behind Faction Paradox is that Lawrence Miles, the writer, he moved away from the BBC because his stories were like getting changed by them a little bit. He wanted to write his own thing. But because of that, he wanted to continue the arc, but he couldn't use any of the terms from Doctor Who officially. So instead of Time Lords, he used Great Houses. Instead of Gallifrey, he used Homeworld. And he couldn't use the Doctor, but he used a lot of figures that could have been the Doctor. So this is one of them, right? And there's a bunch of people who could have been the
Yeah.
Doctor, according to him. So, yeah. Shift is one of the people who were implied to be the Doctor by him, but he can't exactly, say they're the Doctor for obvious reasons.
Yeah, and then during the dark times, there was, or well, the wilderness years, there was a lot of audios and stories floating around where it was the Doctor, but it wasn't legally the Doctor.
Yeah. That's where you get a lot of these from. Obviously, some of these don't need to have their own, I guess, things, but that's if you take them as whole different incarnations. They could have just been a different incarnation pretending to be X or Y, right? Because that could count.
Yeah, or alternative universes.
Yeah. Okay. Hold on, let me just. Okay, I just want to check. I guess we can start here. In the
Yeah,
Xoanon.
I think that's a computer from the Fates of Evil, which was, I think, where Leela was
Oh.
first introduced.
Okay, yeah. So basically, I don't think I need to
Yeah,
know the
it's a
wiki
fourth
page
Doctor
for this
show.
one. This is where the brain of Morbius faces were shown, weren't they? So it went 4, 2, 1. Yeah. So in the episode, the brain of
No, no, no,
Morbius.
no, no,
No, was
wrong,
this a
wrong,
different thing?
wrong.
I thought. Okay.
Brain
Is
of
it?
Morbius. This is the Face of Evil. This is where Leela was introduced, I'm pretty sure. Yes, Xoanon shows a bunch of doctors that we hadn't seen before, or maybe they were the doctor, maybe they weren't.
Mhm.
But basically, Xoanon was a computer that the doctor in an unseen adventure kind of messed up, and well, it was, as you could see, it became insane when the fourth doctor started repairing him.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's those. And we also have what? A son of Penelope. Okay. Well, we know that the name I can't pronounce still.
Ulysses is the doctor's
Yeah,
father.
yeah, I know that. I just forgot how to pronounce it. Because that's the Doctor's father, you can assume that maybe, obviously, you have so many things that could be the Doctor's mother. You have Leela, you have the Nooms, you have this person as well, Penelope Gate. So, yeah,
Who?
it's odd.
Penelope Gate? Oh.
This is where you
Oh,
get the.
wait, the room with no doors. That was a missing version of Edra, I think.
Okay. You get this from, basically, there's a thought that the Doctor has been
Or
half human
no, it
for a
was the
long
New
time.
Adventures.
Um,
Huh.
in the TV movie, McGann, the Eighth Doctor, says that he is half human, but obviously a lot of
On
people
his
said that oh
mother's
he's
side.
joking. Yeah, a lot of people said oh he's joking, but he could have been serious because there's a lot of things that imply that. So one of these is obviously if you take Penelope Gate as the Doctor's mother, because that was the wife of the Doctor's father, right? So you could say that the Doctor is half human because of that, but according to what we currently covered, the Doctor is probably a quarter, a quarter Lovecraftian god, a quarter really Egyptian god. You have a quarter
Or
human. You have
Osiran, not a
yeah,
god
yeah,
per se. A lot of gods exist in the Doctor Who universe as
hmm
aliens
yeah. The
with
Osirans
godlike
basically
powers.
inspired the Egyptian gods. I just quoted that for that reason. And also a
Yeah.
quarter vampire. Yeah. You
And
could,
also a quarter future companion
at that point, you get like a
and a quarter
fifth,
Time Lord.
a sixth. So you get a sixth at that point. So, yeah. That's where you get all of that from. So that's where another thing.
Yes.
Geez, and this goes pretty deep. Like, there's a lot of interpretations from Leaky Bible. Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ. But we're
Oh,
gonna
and
lead
then
to.
there's the Infinity
Let's wait
Doctor,
a bit
which
before we get to that guy. So that guy is a whole can of worms. That guy is one of the biggest things, right? Apart from the
he
main
was
ones.
he was an anniversary book. He was an anniversary
Yeah,
special.
the 35th, right?
I think it was during the Wilderness Years. It was one of the Past Doctor adventures. It was
Okay.
in the Past Doctor adventure line, despite him being a future Doctor.
Yeah, 35th anniversary of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Alright, let's just do this one because it's easier, and then we can move on to that. So, obviously, the first Morbius Doctor is in the Brain of Morbius episode. When the fourth Doctor is up against Morbius,
They have a mental battle, and
mental
then
battle.
like the machine between them shows the previous Doctors.
Yeah. Let me check it right here. Amazing. Could you stop clicking around? Okay, cool. Okay, so originally I had a part from the Brain of Morbius playing here, but YouTube and their amazing copyright decided to block it. so I had to cut this whole segment out. So basically, all we explained was that in the episode they showed the pre-Hartnell incarnation showing up on the screen as this happened. So yeah, I'm probably gonna cover up the screen with just a black box or something so I don't get copyright. If you wanted to search it, please search up the clip. It was in the original Fourth Doctor episode. But yeah, he had a mental battle with Morbius, and then all of the past Doctors came up. Then it showed some unknown faces we hadn't seen before, which were basically the incarnations from before Hartnell. Yeah. Unfortunate about YouTube, so I have to talk for another 30 seconds just to cover up that audio. Um, so, if you do enjoy the video, maybe subscribe, and or you can skip to a further entry because that's all I'm going to be doing for the rest of this entry. The enemy knows. And this is for Ritz the Loon if he's watching. Random man, thank you. Yeah, so this episode was the first time that it was implied that there was Doctors before Hartnell himself, so yeah.
Maybe. I think, or I would say two of the Cybermen, but I don't think so.
It wasn't really implied as much as here, where it's kind of directly shown that there were
Yeah.
Doctors, yeah.
Oh, hey, maybe there is a. Yeah, it is. It's implied, sort of, in the earlier seasons, but this is where it's like, oh, maybe there's more.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
more it added to the mystery, sort of.
Yeah, that's when.
More, it added to the Who of Doctor Who.
Yeah. Okay. So, the next part we're going to be talking about will be child. Oh, wait, never mind. Should we just. We'll go back to this section. I guess we could talk about the Infinity Doctor now, considering he's here.
He might need a whole episode to himself.
Yeah. Oh boy. Some of these smaller entries we get out of the way. Obviously, we talk about this. The Doctor on Prod TV. So this is a unproduced episode called Fathers
The
and Brothers.
last episode. Hey, big finish, big finish, big finish.
All right. This
Oh boy,
was.
that's Davros.
Hmm. Yeah, and they have a behind the screens video. So this was a screenplay that was produced that was, I guess, the script added several new elements, including 1940s human companion named Lizzie, another notable shift from the Bible. That rather than okay, fair enough.
And of course, the wiki doesn't have the plot.
They don't even have it for Long Barrel, bro. Pretty sure they just straight up don't have it, even though they have information on it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So
And
I
again, I'm not
guess
surprised. It is Doctor Who.
there's some kind of link towards this and the Infinity Doctor. It's the only, I mean, one of the only links. So, well, apart from some all the way down there.
I
But
mean, we might want to look at the Leekly Bible then.
yeah, all right, the Doctor Leekly Bible. So this was a pitch for the Doctor Who reboot that was made in 1994. This was before the revival series in 2005. This was
Yes,
a
so as
so-called
you can see,
rebooted Doctor at the time, right? I might as well go to that link. So this is the one that was supposed to be from those, and it's implied. I guess people say that this guy might have led to the Infinity Doctor. Maybe I will. Maybe you'll say, okay, no kind of link. I guess it might just be a theory. It might just be a theory then. That people think that the Doctor who
yes,
was not produced from this universe ended up becoming the
Horus
Infinity Doctor.
universe.
Yeah. I guess that's something. You can, I guess, watch the behind the screens video. There's a whole thing about Paul McGann talking about it. Yeah,
Just 2 minutes.
it's around 2 minutes long.
Because you gave me a home and no one else had had me.
So this is from the audition. So it was the audition tape. Basically, this is how he got the role. I'm pretty sure in the
For
movie.
this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's how he got the audition for the movie, but I think that might have been for this reboot.
yeah. I guess because they thought it was so good, they decided to put it in the movie. A lot of the auditions have stuff that never
And
ends up happening. Even the 15th Doctor's audition script, which you can actually find online. it has some stuff that doesn't actually happen in the series, so that's actually pretty cool.
And this is the sort of first draft of the Doctor Who movie where Ulysses was his father, and the Doctor and the Master are half brothers, and also next in line to the throne of Gallifrey. And Barusa, which I think he was an enemy in some of the novels or the show, maybe the Five Doctors.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of the first draft of that movie, I suppose.
Okay, yeah, that could work. But yeah, I guess if you say that, then you can say the Doctor from this unproduced universe is the Infinity Doctor that we end up seeing in the Infinity Doctor novels. Who I
Yes,
guess we can go
the
hit
novels who fights Omega
talk about that. Oh
and meets
god,
and re-meets his wife, Patience.
yeah. Okay, aspect of Michael Moore. Oh, I know this one actually. You know the book, The Eternal
Oh,
Champion, the character, The Eternal Champion, right? There's a whole thing that
you
implies
know,
that the Doctor is him. Yeah. Um, because it was the 11th Doctor, 11th Doctor, so when he did all this crap, it's implied that he was, of course, uh, Eternal Champion. Here it is. This novel takes place not only in the Doctor Who universe, but also in Moorcock's broader fictional multiverse. Jerry Cornelius appears as Captain Cornelius, and the Doctor is implied to be another aspect of the Eternal Champion character that appears in basically all of his stories. So basically, this writer has his own universe where he's run a character called the Eternal Champion, and it's implied that the Doctor is this guy. So yeah, I haven't read the
yeah,
series. I don't know about the Eternal Champion that much, but he's a character.
me neither. I haven't read this guy's books at all.
So I guess yeah, if you want to take the Doctor as this guy, maybe if you're a fan of this guy, then go ahead. He's the Doctor.
The canon is what you make it.
Pretty much. Okay, maybe
Ooh, the
we
Doctor, Auld
finally.
Morality.
Oh wait.
Oh yeah, no, we still got to do Auld Morality and Peter Cushing.
Okay. Oh, okay. This is the best. This is the best. Sorry. I would.
Is
I'll.
it?
This is the bad, bro. That movie was so sick. Okay. But anyway, let's
Yeah,
do this one
Auld
first.
Morality. If I remember, we doing Auld Morality?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. If
Wait.
I remember correctly, I think I actually have that one.
Oh.
Basically,
This
the
is a
Doctor
side
is,
note.
yes, this is where the Doctor and Susan never left Gallifrey. So basically, the story is there is a Doctor going over the hills during the Persian invasion, I think, no, not Persian, invasion of Rome, the Punic Wars, and
Okay.
he's stuck in with Hannibal. No, the one of the people during the Punic Wars that were not on the Roman side, uh, and the Gallifreyans were very interventionist, I believe, in this universe, and the Doctor was anti-interventionist, or I might be wrong. No, I think that might have been another story, but basically, Doctor, it was a plot by some cousin or uncle or something to get money off of the Doctor or something like that. I think, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And the specular figure in robes of night would be the Auld Morality.
Okay. In general, I guess this is supposed to be an
The
alternate version of the other, according to the page. Oh, we covered already. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Here we
Oh,
go. We got Doctor Who. We got Doctor Who from Doctor
yeah.
Who and the
Basically,
Daleks. This movie
it's
this movie was amazing. So basically, this movie
yes, it was
is
the first Punic War.
yeah. It was wait the what sir?
The first Punic War. It was the Carthaginians
Yeah.
led by Hannibal.
So pretty much this is I don't know why the images don't know that's what it looked like. Um, it was a recreation of the original episodes that had the Daleks in them, but it portrayed the Doctor as not an alien like a Time Lord that we knew him as. It portrayed him as a human scientist who built a TARDIS in his garden in 20th century England. It built a time machine. Not it wasn't called basically yeah the time and space machine TARDIS. Yeah, it was a movie that was made for that purpose. I guess maybe I forgot for what kind of audience it was made for, because for people that I guess didn't want to watch the show or just some kind of abridged version of the show. But yeah, the movie is honestly really good. Like I saw them a very long time ago. Um, and
I haven't watched them.
I would recommend that you watch them, especially if you've seen the TV episodes like that it's based off. Yeah, it's a fun little imaginative take on this, but they've actually canonized this in some kind of way. Basically, they said that this movie, Unit made this movie as a way to portray the Doctor in universe. So in universe, whenever people watch the movie about Doctor Who, they're watching
This
this
is
movie.
propaganda.
Yeah.
You are not immune to propaganda.
That's what it says. This is who the Doctor is in universe according to Unit. Yeah.
Unit propaganda. We love
This
it.
is just Unit propaganda. That's what they do. So this guy is a fictional character, right? He's a fictional character inside Doctor Who. So he's a fictional piece. But he is a human.
Yes.
So the main thing is that this version of the Doctor is not a human. It's not an alien. He's a human who built a TARDIS in his garden in the 20th century. That's
And
who he
they
is.
meet the Daleks, and
They meet the
I
Daleks.
think Ian is Chesterton is
Yeah,
in this
Ian is in
movie.
it, and also Susan is in it. But he actually has two granddaughters. He has Susan and Barbara, who is
Yes.
a different character, right? And yeah,
A tiny child, I believe.
no,
The girlfriend.
that's the
And
girlfriend.
Susan's the child.
Susan.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
That's completely different.
this is the one's the child. So yeah, I guess technically they took the place. They made Susan into Barbara from the show. As in, sorry, they made Barbara into Susan from the show. Is what I'm saying. So Susan's role is given to Barbara, and it was the girlfriend of Ian, who is like obviously also in the show as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So they were the
overall,
teachers from Coal Hill School.
If you just want to check out Doctor Who without in a movie format, I guess you can watch this as one thing. It's not canon.
There's also
in a way.
There's also the Dalek Invasion of Earth, which is a sequel to this.
Yep. So this movie there was also meant to be a third one, but that one didn't get made. Very unfortunate.
What was it going to be if there was a third one?
I think it was based on one of the, I forgot. Might have been one of the Fourth Doctor stories, because it was made in like the 80s. So I forgot which story though. It's made based on one of them, but I forgot the exact one. It might have actually been
Seventh Doctor in the movies.
Bro, how would they do that? This Doctor, man. Jesus.
Seventh Doctor on some fucking Godfather.
And in case you didn't notice, he's played by Peter Cushing, who is quite a famous actor. So yeah,
yeah,
he played
in Britain.
You know what would have been funny if they decided to show this Doctor? You know, in Rogue when they showed all the past Doctor's face. Imagine they showed this Doctor. This guy showed up.
The 11th hour and Peter Cushing appears.
He's canon, bro. This actually happened. Thing is, I'm pretty sure in the very first scripts of Doctor Who, they originally made the Doctor a time traveler from the 49th century. He was escaping a war like a long time ago. So he was supposed to be a human time traveler.
Wars? How many wars is this guy?
This was before they made him a Time Lord and all that. The moment they decided to make him an alien, really, was when the Toymaker came, and in the original episode. Because they were implying that the Toymaker was one of the Doctor's original species. So at the time, the Toymaker was supposed to be a Time Lord. Well, it wasn't called a Time Lord at the time, but basically, the Doctor's species.
Yeah,
but then
the Time Lords were introduced in Second Doctor War Games.
Yeah. So I guess they were trying to imply that the Toymaker was one of the Doctor's species. That's why he's so smart and could do all that stuff. But that idea didn't come to fruition, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. And there's a whole bunch of like versions of this
Doctor Who, The Land of Fiction. That is, I think that's in the novels actually. Conundrum. In the sequel to Conundrum.
We know about what the Land of Fiction is, right? The Land of Fiction is obviously this place where there's all the fictional characters in there.
And there's a character called the Master, which is not the guy that you know.
the master of the land, pretty much.
Wait, go back to the Google search.
Oh,
Right there, Doctor
that's
Who
what you
Land of
wanted.
Fiction. Yes, that's it.
And you
Yes,
see, that
it
looked like the
was
Seventh
Conundrum and
Doctor to
Hedgehog.
me. That it looks like the Seventh Doctor. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's sort of supposed to be
Okay. I guess that's that. This is basically whenever someone made a fictional piece, it got added to the land of fiction. So whenever someone made a character, it got added to the land of fiction in the universe. So a human male called Jason made who was the master of the land of fiction, made Doctor Who, like Doctor Who, not the Doctor Who. So yeah, I guess because he has a similar name to that, we could assume that that was one of the first things that created the Peter Cushing version of the Doctor. So yeah,
Or no, well, the fictional character,
yeah,
or well, no, the Peter Cushing character created the Land of Fiction. Or well,
yeah,
they're sort of related.
yeah. That's a. I mean, what this means is it's like the same, I think, in a way. So this kind of symbol, you see the little circle and the thing, yeah. That's why it was on Tecteun and the other. They're basically, it's implying that they're the same person. So on this, is implying that the first Doctor is the same person. But I mean, technically, Doctor Who is a alternate universe version of the first Doctor. You can claim that, like you can claim that, I guess.
Yeah, even though he's propaganda in universe,
Yeah. Because
you are
he's
not
just,
immune to Peter Cushing propaganda.
yeah. That makes me
Oh,
think what
wait.
people thought. Yeah.
Yeah, we also got to do the Broken Generation, Avus, and the Grandfather of House Paradox, which, oh boy, Grandfather Paradox.
Oh no. Okay.
He might have to. What? How far are we into this?
Right. But bro, we're literally the first Doctor, which we're just
We
here
haven't
at
even
the.
reached the first Doctor. We haven't even reached the first Doctor yet. We're
All of
still
these are
covered.
just. Okay, listen, yeah.
Doctor Omega. That was one of the unauthorized things during the Wilderness years.
No. Doctor Omega was made before Doctor Who. It was made before Doctor Who. It was made in
Oh,
1906. It was a science fiction novel
oh,
by this French writer, and basically, it was implied that this was something that inspired Doctor Who. But then the writer of this said that, oh, maybe he is Doctor Who. So, well, in that way, maybe he is the Doctor. Very
amazing.
later on.
But
So, yeah.
also, I remember audio stories where I think it was either the sixth or fourth Doctor starring as Doctor Omega.
I mean, yeah, that could be a reference to this for sure. Basically, this was about an alien who took he took companions, the Doctor Omega, and his companions went in the spacecraft that he called Cosmos at the time. It was not like a police box; it was just a spacecraft. So, yeah, I guess this is a version of the Doctor too. Okay, but listen, yeah, we gotta cover this because I need to show you this. Okay, this is from Godzilla. This is from a movie, King Kong Escapes, which is part of the Godzilla franchise, and there was a character called called Doctor Who. um,
That,
yeah, that's it's
that guy, he sure is a
this
doctor.
this guy has no relation to the Doctor that we know of. He's literally just an evil scientist in King Kong who steals some
And he's a
schematics and
terrorist.
creates a robot version of King Kong called Mechanic Kong in that movie. He creates this.
Mechanicon. Oh my god.
Yeah. I don't know why
Look
this is
at
on here. Like the only similarity is that his name is Doctor Who. That's the only similarity. That's he's nothing like the Doctor. He's just a guy who created an evil thing.
He's just evil.
I, I, I don't know.
Oh, well, wait, scroll down, scroll! Look in the trivia.
Oh, here we go. Doctor Who was referenced by the similarly named Doctor Who franchise in the 2001 novel The Adventures of Henrietta Street. He's basically a fictional character in the universe, so he's basically a part of the land of fiction, I guess. So we got so many people called Doctor Who in the land of fiction. We got this guy, we got the Peter Cushing, we got Doctor Who, the fictional character. But yeah,
We got Doctor Who that
I
was created
guess
by
if
the
you,
formerly Master of the Land.
I guess if you guys wanted that Doctor Who and Godzilla crossover, here you go.
I, I guess you're Doctor Who. If you're in the Doctor Who universe, you have no lack of media with Doctor Who in it. And also, technically, the Doctor is a fictional character in universe as well,
Yeah.
played by the actors.
Well, the actors are fictional characters as well. Is actually like, if you search it up, look, I'll
Yeah,
show you.
the BBC.
There it is, Matt Smith. In that's as an example. You literally have Matt Smith was an actor in Doctor Who. He portrayed the Doctor on Doctor Who as a fictional character inside this. This is not like, oh, the actor, like the real actor. This is straight up a fictional character called Matt Smith who played the fictional character called Doctor called the Doctor.
Yes.
We're going into so many like metafiction layers. It's so stupid in this. But
Oh God, we haven't even got to the first Doctor.
alright, will we do the grandfathers here?
I suppose so. We'll go down the grandfather line.
Alright. I mean, okay. So
Okay,
obviously
so the grand.
there was in the Faction Paradox series, there's obviously a faction called Faction Paradox. In it, they were called the House Paradox, and they were led by the founder of it was the grandfather of House Paradox.
Grandfather Paradox.
Yeah, as said,
who was
remember
a cousin of the Doctor.
Yeah. Remember that the author, like Lawrence Miles, when he split off from the BBC, couldn't use the names, so he made a lot of characters based on them, as we mentioned before. So this guy was supposed to be a cousin of the Doctor. In from what we know before in Longbarrow, the Doctor had so many cousins in the House of Longbarrow, right? He had tons of
There was
them.
like 40 per house, I think.
Yeah. And he didn't like any of
40-ish.
them.
They're all kind of assholes.
Yeah. I mean, that's not wrong. They are not very nice people. We can find that if we check the House of Longbarrow page. Here it is. We have the Doctor, Almond, yeah,
Doctor,
all of these guys, all of these guys.
Grandfather Christmas on a Rational Planet? What? Really?
Did you read this? I mean, I read a little bit of it. Isn't this one with the
I
Carnival Queen?
haven't.
I swear on the Carnival Queen. Okay, this is the way the Carnival Queen creates all the universe and stuff like that. Because the thing she does. This is, I'm pretty sure I've heard of it a little bit, and that's what happens. But yeah, Grandfather Paradox is someone who is part of this, one of the Doctor's cousins. Why is?
Yeah.
Alright, fair enough.
That's amazing.
But yeah, so this is the Doctor's cousin, right? So I guess you could imply that
Through Avus, he's technically the Doctor.
Same person as Avus, and that's who the Doctor is as well. Who Avus is? That's this.
Oh, Homeworlder. Okay, that makes sense.
Who was known by that? So I guess here it is. Avus is Latin for grandfather. Both Grandfather Paradox and the First Doctor are significant members of the Great Houses who were called Grandfather. So I guess you can imply that this is the First Doctor. So, after all that time, how about you talk about the First Doctor? Okay, so originally I was gonna have a really cool intro with the First Doctor's opening, and then we go into Mother explaining it, but the copyright god struck again. So because of this, for this segment, you'll have to look at Matt Smith's beautiful face the whole time. I hope that doesn't mind, but yeah, I can't do what I was gonna do. So it's a bunch of clips. Sorry, I have to get rid of them.
Seasons. He was in 29 stories, 134 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
He was from 1963 to 1966, and he was also in the 10th anniversary story, The Three Doctors. He was also later recast after his death in the Five Doctors and Twice Upon a Time. His final story was the first introduction of the Cybermen. He fought the Daleks. He got shrunk. The TARDIS almost exploded. He fought cavemen.
Yep.
He met
Essentially, he
Marco
started it
Polo.
all, right? Even though these guys came before
Yes,
him in timeline, he is the first Doctor we all know as the guy you started on to. Later in his life,
yes,
his health started to, worsen, so that's when they decided to
because he was
introduce.
getting
Yeah,
older,
they,
and
yeah,
yeah,
they
his
decided
health started to
to.
worsen. That's when they introduced regeneration,
Yep.
so they could easily explain the
I'm
change
pretty
in
sure
actors.
he picked
So
out Troughton as the actor. He picked.
yes, he did.
Yeah,
He
to
did.
play the second Doctor. So he picked him, which is cool.
He picked. He's like, there's nobody better in London that can do it, other than that guy.
Yeah.
Get Patrick Troughton.
Okay. So now we
He was
have.
also played. He was played in Twice Upon a Time and Adventures in Time and Space by David Bradley. Can't remember who he was for the Five Doctors though.
Uh,
Hold on, got it.
what was it? Richard Hurndall.
Richard Hurndall, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes, Richard Hurndall was the first Doctor in this, and Tom Baker couldn't get off his ass, so he got archive footage.
Yeah. So.
You might have been the longest running Doctor, bro, but just come on, man.
There's a lot before you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and that is the end of part one. Hope you guys did enjoy. Obviously, this is kind of like a podcast type format thing where we're just like going over each of the incarnations, kind of improvising and stuff. If we don't know, respectfully, we will use the wiki. And yeah, we are in this part. We covered all of the pre-Hartnell incarnations, so all the ones before the First Doctor, including the First Doctor. In the next episode, we will consider doing Doctors, after the First Doctor, up until maybe the Sixth Doctor. That's how much we recorded till now, but we might do more. And obviously, from there, we'll keep going. We might need to dedicate some episodes to some entries, such as, that will be coming up, like Iris Waldheim, and also the Infinity Doctor, and a whole bunch of others. So yeah, we will just say if we're doing that. But yeah, tell me if you guys thought this video was good and what you might want me to do in the next part. I will be reading the comments and checking your suggestions. Goodbye.